I wish it were on better occasion, but look behind you there. That right there is Justin Trudeau and the NDP's cruel April Fool's Day joke on Canadians. It is a joke without laughter. It is a joke that brings tears to the eyes of most Canadians, because after 8 years of Trudeau and his coalition with the NDP, everything costs more. 2 million Canadians line up at food banks because they can't afford food. 1/3 of food-related charities are turning Canadians away because they've run out of food. In Montreal, a couple of weeks back, there was a small riot after the food ran out and the police had to be called because there were too many hungry people on the streets clamoring for something to eat. In St. John's, Newfoundland, there are 28 dead bodies left in refrigerators outside of a hospital because families could not afford a funeral or cremation. Can you imagine that? Leaving your aunt, your father, your sister, your brother in a freezer next to a dumpster at a hospital because you cannot afford to give them a dignified goodbye. These are the kinds of stories that we see after 8 years of Trudeau. Homeless encampments are now common in almost every community in the country. We all remember the downtown east side of Vancouver. Well, Justin Trudeau and the NDP have taken that model nationwide. They've doubled housing costs, with rent, mortgage payments, and down payments now costing twice what they did 8 years ago when Trudeau promised to lower them. Then we have the crime because of catch and release, decriminalization of drugs, and wasted money pursuing a ban on hunters and sport shooters. We have crime and chaos everywhere in our streets. Violent crime up 40%. Shootings up over 100%. 40,000 people have died of drug overdoses as the Prime Minister floods our streets with tax-funded opioids. And his solution to all this misery is today to hike the carbon tax by 23%. This is not just a tax at the pump. It's a tax on your heat, a tax on your food, because if you tax the farmer who grows the food and the trucker who ships the food, you tax all who buy the food. It is a tax that will cost the majority of families in every single province more than they get back. In Alberta, the average family will pay $900 more this year than they get back in rebates. In Saskatchewan, $525 more than they get back in rebates. In Manitoba, $502 more. In Ontario, $627 more. In Nova Scotia, $537 more. In Prince Edward Island, $550 more. And in Newfoundland and Labrador, $377 more in tax costs than you get back in rebates. And in BC, it's worst of all. Here, the NDP government is expected to collect $9 billion more in carbon taxes carbon taxes and give back $3.5 billion in credits. So you can tell there's a big difference between 9 and 3.5. That's $5.5 billion in net taxes out of the pockets of British Columbians. It is a combined tax imposed by Trudeau in Ottawa, but happily administered by the NDP government of David Eby here in British Columbia. My friends, the good news is life was not like this before Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. There will be a carbon tax election with a very clear choice between Trudeau, a costly coalition of Trudeau and the NDP, who tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and chaos in your community, or common sense conservatives, who axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Common sense conservatives will axe the tax to bring down costs on our farmers, on our small businesses, on building materials. We will cap government spending and cut waste to balance the budget so we can bring down inflation and interest rates, and your dollar will carry its purchasing power forward into the future. Speaking of powerful paychecks, we'll remove government gatekeepers to develop our resources again. Our fisheries, our forestry, our farmers, our factories will come roaring back to life, producing more of the goods that money buys rather than just producing money. We're going to bring home the production to Canada. We're going to incentivize our municipalities to speed up and lower the cost of building permits. We'll require they permit 15% more housing completions per year as a condition of getting federal funds so that they get out of the way and let builders build. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings, thousands of acres of federal land to build, build, build. We'll back up the trades so we have more builders to do the work. We need more boots and not more suits. And we will ensure these homes are in safe neighborhoods. With jail and not bail for repeat violent offenders, with treatment, not more decriminalized and subsidized drugs, so that we can rehabilitate our loved ones and bring them home drug-free. We will stop the attack on law-abiding, lawful hunters and sport shooters. We know that our hunters are not the problem. It is the criminals who bring the guns over the border illegally. We'll put the money into reinforcing our ports, and our borders so that we keep the illegal drugs and guns out of our country, and we bring home safety to all Canadians. This is the hopeful, bright, and optimistic future that awaits with a common-sense Conservative government that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Let's bring it home.